We don't want these just to be fun little vacations, which everybody's having a blast here, but I want you to learn. So I did a lecture right there on the spot with the people that were there, and we broke down the lessons that we learned that day. So he eventually gains power in Ghana, and of course the CIA steps in eventually, and the CIA takes him out of power. The point where the CIA took him Nkrumah out of power was when he was actually out of the country, and so he ended up being in exile, and then everything kind of went downhill from there. But he's recognized in a major way in this country for good reason because this man did some extraordinary things. He had an extraordinary vision. He had some partners like Patrice Lumumba who also felt the same way. And of course, the CIA took down Patrice Lumumba. So what I did was I said, okay, let me process some of this and try to think it through and try to figure out what B1 people, because we're leaders, we're great, we're great as well. We this is our time. This is our time to be great. What is it that we can learn from this that we can apply so we can know how to move forward? So let me give you a couple of things that I want you to understand in terms of why Nkrumah was such a threat and why the West worked so hard to take him down. Number one, when you push for African unity and economic independence, what you're doing is you're directly threatening the interests of European nations. You're threatening the interest of America. Why? Well, because Africa has been a place that it's been a commodity that so many people around the world have been able to exploit. So many countries literally go into Africa as if it's their own, and they've been dependent on these resources. France, for example, if Africa stopped supplying France, then France would just crumble financially. If you know the history from reading books by Dr. Claude Anderson and others, Dr. Claude Anderson broke it down very well, where he said that before they sort of figured out how many resources were in Africa, Europe was pretty broke. And when they went over there and got all the gold and all the minerals, Europe actually became extremely wealthy because of that. And so when you threaten the economic interests of another nation, then at that point you're going to be dancing with the devil. At that point, you're going to have ships on your shores. You're going to have to fight military battles, and this goes back to something that I've talked to you all about when it comes to Black Wall Street. I've explained to you all that having wealth is not enough. Building wealth is hard enough, but it's not just that. But it isn't enough. After you build the wealth, you have to defend the wealth. So this is not just true for a nation. This is true for an individual. This is true for a family. This is true for anybody. Anybody in here who's a wealth builder, which all of you are. Give me a yes if you're a wealth builder. All the wealth builders, raise your hand. If you are building wealth, I want to warn you that when you build that wealth, someone's going to try to take it. Maybe someone will sue you. Maybe someone will try to rob you. Someone will try to scam you. Someone's going to try to take it. So your ability to defend what you have is just as important as your desire and ability to accumulate what you have. So when Nkrumah and others were threatening the economic interests of the United States, then at that point, you know you're going to be under attack. The CIA is going to show up. And what happens sometimes, this is something I want y'all to think about, is I think that what happens is this. When we get into scenarios where we have what they call, I think they call it messianic leadership, where everyone just admires one guy and one guy becomes the guy and he becomes the leader, the King Kong consciousness of everything. Umar Johnson calls himself King Kong consciousness, right? Which I think is honestly kind of immature. And you get this one guy who's kind of the big leader. Well, then what happens is you have everybody focus on one big target.